Hello guys and welcome back to Planet 40k. Before we break into the video, make sure you're liking and subscribing and all that stuff. Support the channel, support the community. Right, today we're going to be doing a comparison video, another who would win, and this time we're going to be looking at objective holders. What's the best objective holder in the Necron Codex? I'm going to be pitting 3 units together or comparing them against one another. Necron Warriors, Canoptic Wraiths and Lich Guard, specifically with the swords and shields. I believe that they're the 3 best objective holders that we've got in the Codex and the most commonly used. There may be others, but these are the 3 that I wanted to go with today. Now before we go into the video, into the comparison, I just want to give you a quick word about our sponsor. Tabletop Plastic have a whole host of printed terrain, and I wanted to turn your attention to this WTC tournament terrain set. This is the Gothic ruins with line of sight blocking and platforms. Just one set is enough to fill a competitive WTC board for when you use your 40k chapter approved tournament companion. It comes semi-built, so you simply need to put the tops on. This is so that you can adapt the terrain to any of the 8 layouts within the tournament companion maps. Now we've got a discount code which is Planet40k20 for a massive 20% off of your order. So what are you waiting for? Get yours now. The link for Tabletop Plastic will be down in the video description down below. So that's the Tabletop Plastic, guys. Get your set now. Link will be down in the description down below. 20% off as well. It's a really good set. So, Necron Warriors, Canoptic Wraiths and Lich Guard. What holds the objectives the best? Put a prediction in now. Maybe even comment it now. And then come back to your comment and see if you still agree with yourself. We're going to start the comparisons with the basic stuff. We're not going to use any detachments or anything at this point. Just the basics. So, let's get a little table going as we do like a table on this channel. Warriors, you're going to take them in a unit of 20, and that's going to cost you 200 points at this moment in time. Canoptic Wraiths, a 6 model unit is 220 points, and Lich Guard, you're going to get 10 models for 170. The Lich Guard are the cheapest of the 3 options here by 50 points, and the Canoptic Wraiths are of course the most expensive. The Warriors are kind of a middle ground, but I think it would be fair to assume that all 3 of these units would have their leaders, because that gives them a bit of defense no matter what leader you really take. So we're going to add some leaders in. Now Warriors of course got the options of Cryptex. We've done a video recently in fact about the best defensive Cryptex. If you missed that one, check that one out. You could go with Orokin the Diviner or a Chronomancer potentially, and you can stick an Overlord or a Royal Ward in there too. Now for this video I'm going to go with the Chronomancer because I've kind of swayed my opinion in recent weeks to the Chronomancer being the best one for Warriors over Orokin the Diviner. Orokin has its uses, but I believe the -1 to hit with the Time Splitter Mantle is a really good ability to have. Now with the Canoptic Wraiths, of course, you've got the Technomancer with the 5+ Feel No Pain save, and the Technomancer ability to heal D3 lost wounds, so we're going to add that. And the Lich Guard, you've got the option of any nobles really, and for this video I'm just going to go over Standard Overlord with the Resurrection Orb. He's a noble, so you're going to have a -1 to hit penalty if your opponent's strength is greater than our toughness of toughness 5. So once you've added those leaders into the unit, we've got a new total unit cost. And well, the results are actually still the same here. The Lich Guard unit as a whole is still the cheapest option, and the most expensive option is still the Canoptic Wraiths at 300 points. Warriors still being a good mid-ground area. Other statistics of note, you've got OC. The total OC of the Warrior unit with the Chronomancer involved is 21. You've got 13 for the Canoptic Wraiths and 11 for the Lich Guard with their Overlord. So in fact, I may as well put all the colours on the screen so you can kind of see it. I've crossed out the original points cost because we don't need that anymore. The total points cost is all we really need. So we know the basics. Now let's kind of move into the durability, because I believe that's quite an important factor when holding onto an objective. If you're not going to be durable and reliable to be sticking around on the objective, then it's kind of no point. There's no point being there. You're going to be there for one turn, then you're off. So we're going to start talking about the durability now. Do some math hammer, and we're going to test how many attacks it takes to clear the unit off. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do just the bodyguard unit. So just for example the Warriors with the Chronomancer. So when the Warriors are gone, that's enough for me because, well, A, the Chronomancer not going to do enough on its own, but when you're looking at like the Overlord, he's got quite a lot of wounds and an invuln save, and it kind of gets a little bit different. We're also going to assume there's no precision attacks here because of course they would attack the leader, and then once the leader goes, our defensive buffs are gone for future attacks. So we're going to just assume there's no precision here. And let's throw up another quick table, and we're going to be putting First of all the basic stuff before we go into how many attacks they can take. So I'm going to quickly throw this on. We don't need to go through this like every single bit, but as you can see here, the warriors have got the worst defensive stats out of all 3 of the units, and in all 5 of the categories. The worst toughness, the worst armor save, the worst, well, they haven't got an invulnerable save, so they can't, well, they are the worst. They've got no feel no pain save, and they've only got total wounds of 20, whereas the Canoptic Wraiths were the best in all of the 5 categories, and the Lich Guard were a bit of both. Right then, what I've done, I've actually recycled an old table, and we're going to be using the weapon profiles on the left hand side: las gun, bolt gun, heavy bolter, plasma pistol, melter and las cannon. And we're going to tell you, well, I'm going to go through how many shots it takes, or how many attacks it takes to delete the bodyguard part of the unit. So when you're shooting these attacks against warriors, to clear just the warriors off, it's 360 attacks. Against the Canoptic Wraiths, you're looking at a whopping 1,296 attacks. Partly because they're hitting on 4s, then they're wounded on 6s, and you've got a 3+ armor save, then a 5+ feel no pain save on top of that. Lich Guard, it's also 360 attacks. You just got to get through 10 models, I guess. With the bolt guns, you're now hitting on 3s with strength 4. Warriors, 160 attacks. Canoptic Wraiths, 486 attacks. So that's gone down quite a lot since the last gun, because you're now winning on 5s. And Lich Guard, it's 270 points. So again, the Canoptic Wraiths are the best option here against that specific weapon. Heavy bolters, these are now damage 2, so they're going to be slightly different. Warriors, it's 90 attacks to eliminate the 20-man unit. Canoptic Wraiths, 162 attacks. And Lich Guard is only 60 attacks. You've only got to get through 10 models now, and you're wounded on 4s, and each time one goes through, it just goes through the model because they're 2 wounds and it's 2 damage. When it comes back to the plasma pistol, that's -2 AP with only 1 damage, and it's at strength 7, so high strength now. 72 attacks for the warriors, 162 attacks for the wraiths, and the Lich Guard is 120 attacks. So the Lich Guard is sort of in and amongst it, but the wraiths are still ahead by quite a long way. Melters, 48 attacks for the warriors, 47 attacks for the wraiths, and 71 attacks for the Lich Guard. So the Lich Guard are actually better at this point. The -1 definitely helps. And of course, with the Canoptic Wraiths only having 6 models, that probably doesn't help them at all when it's d6 damage. And then we come on to the las cannon, 72 attacks for warriors, 39 attacks for wraiths, and 60 for the Lich Guard. So the wraiths actually fell off here, and the warriors became the best ones. Lich Guard being a nice medium. Those warriors are really good when the AP and the damage went up really high, but your opponent is very unlikely to be shooting melters and las cannons into your warrior brick. So those last stats for the warriors are kind of irrelevant to me. I don't really look at them. If your opponent is firing melters into warriors, then I believe they've already lost the game. Also, you could argue, is your opponent going to be firing las cannons into Canoptic Wraiths? I mean, you could argue yes, but also you're going to have Doomsday Arcs, Catan, the Silent King, just to name a few big and bad things that we've got, some big scaries, the Monolith potentially. Your opponent is likely saving those las cannons and melter shots for your big stuff, and they're going to likely ignore the wraiths, at least at the start of the game. They're going to want to take out our big and bad things, and they're not likely to be targeting the Lich Guard with those weapons either, because they're only 2-win models. Pretty much everything up to the plasma pistol, wraiths can handle the best out of all 3 of them. Lich Guard struggle when the profile of the weapon went to damage 2, and that is still reasonably quite common with a lot of factions, so you have to kind of expect damage to weapons to be firing at Lich Guard. Now also something that we didn't mention here is, well, A, we've got reanimation protocols, and in fact Necron warriors can reroll their reanimation protocols. B, we didn't really mention the Technomancer's healing ability for the Canoptic Wraiths in our movement phase. And there's also another variable as well, which is the melee side of it. Now I'm not going to run too deep into the melee side of it, because we did cover the melee stuff in a previous video we did with the Who Will Win with melee. But it is worth noting that Canoptic Wraiths are probably the best out of the 3 in melee. Lich Guard not that far behind, but the Necron warriors kind of suck in melee. I know there are shenanigans where you can get Illuminazares nearby, and you know, with certain detachment stratagems like the Awakened Dynasty with the Protocol Hungry Void, I know you can do stuff and have a load of attacks, I get that, but just as a standalone unit without the detachment, the Necron warriors are not good in engagement range. They're really not. At least the other 2 units can actually fight, hold their ground, and slap back as well. So in fact, thinking about that more, If your Wraiths and Lich Guard are slapping back, you're going to be minimising how many attacks are coming your way in the next fight phase. We also need to discuss the detachment. I know we've put that to the side, but now it's probably time to bring that in, because it's going to have an effect on virtually everything in this video. I mean, Wraiths in the Canoptic Core, of course, they could be re-rolling all their hit rolls, as an example, so their slapback is going to be much greater. And they've also got their own stratagems, such as the suboptimal facade, where they can do reanimation protocols out of phase. In the Awakened Dynasty, all three are going to be led, so they're all going to get the +1 to hit bonus. And I really like the Protocol of Undying Legions to be bringing models back, where you're basically doing reanimation after your opponent's made an attack. Again, that works on all three of these. And it will actually be free to use for the Lich Guard, because remember, they've got a Necron Overlord in there, and then he's got My Will Be Done, so you're going to be using a stratagem for 1 CP less than it normally would cost, and that stratagem costs 1 CP, so it'll be free. So that's a good option there. And also, Lich Guard have got another bonus with another detachment, which is the Obeisance Phalanx. You've got the, Territorial Obsession, where you've got an extra bit of OC, which is obviously very important for holding objectives. You get 1 OC, additional OC per model. If you've got all 10 alive, that's going to be 10 extra OC. There's also enhancements such as the Warrior Noble enhancement for the -1 to hit. So they could have a -1 to hit and then a -1 to wound as well with the bigger stuff. So there's a lot of funky stuff that you can do with detachments. It just of course depends on what detachment you're using, enhancements you're bringing, and stratagems you're paying for. So how do we conclude this? I mean, Warriors, they've got the model count. Potentially they've got the best speed with the Chronomancer because they can move, shoot, move, which we didn't really discuss too much. It wasn't so much about the objective holding, but they can get to the objective quite quickly when they're moving 5, shooting, and then moving a further 5 inches. They could even advance without the shooting, but then they can't shoot, so then it won't work. Ignore that. They do need to shoot. The Chronomancer works better with Tesla Immortals, in honesty. They've also got the OC, 20 OC, which is nice. They don't fight that great, and they've got the worst durability against the weapons that matter. The ones in mass, the bolt guns, those kind of weapons. So that OC is going to drop quite quickly as well, because even though they've got the best model count in this video, that's not always the good thing. You could argue it's a good thing, but really, as soon as you lose half your unit, well, you've just lost half your OC as well. That sounds really stupid. That's really obvious. What I mean, as soon as you start to lose models, which you will lose them quite quickly because their lack of durability, your OC is going to plummet. Wraiths, on the other hand, have got the best resiliency, so their OC is likely to stay onto the objective because it's really hard to kill them. They've got the lowest model count, but I think it's a good thing because it retains the OC. You've got to take off a lot of wounds, get through all those Funo pain saves, invuln saves and so on, just to remove one model, and that just removes a small amount of OC. But they are the most expensive of the 3 units, you've got to remember that. The Lich Guard are the cheapest, but they're the slowest. I mean, you could advance them, I guess. You could do that with any unit, I suppose. They've also got the lowest OC, but they do have a better durability against the smaller weapons, especially against the Warriors. Not so much against the Wraiths, but against the Warriors they've got a better durability because of their invulnerable save and the -1 to wound them. So out of the 3, which one am I picking? I mean, I think the stats kind of talk for themselves, they speak for themselves. The Canoptic race pretty much won everything. I know they're the most expensive, but they're the most expensive here for a reason, and that is durability. The Necron's Codex does lack, how do I say this, like objective holders, because we've got all these Glass Hammer units, the Scorpion Destroyers, Ophidian Destroyers, Immortals to a degree, because once you tag them they go down. We do have like Catan that can hold their own, but their OC isn't great. The big stuff, the big OC, they kind of go down quite quickly from my experience. Whereas Canoptic Wraiths are one of the hardest units to kill within the Codex. So that's what I'm going to go with today. My pick is the Canoptic Wraiths. You'll have to let me know, guys, have you picked the Canoptic Wraiths from the start of the video? If not, let me know why. So yeah, guys, make sure you are subscribing on your exits, and I'll see you guys in the next one.